welcome or welcome back to the Golden Aura Energy Healing and Wellness Podcast. My name is Faye, and if you're joining me again, we're talking about intuition, what it is, how it speaks to us, and how learning to trust ourselves can become one of the greatest gifts on our healing journey. So in part 1, we explored what intuition is and why so many of us lose touch with it over time. Now I'd like to go a bit deeper because one of the biggest questions people ask me is, how do I know if it's intuition or if it's fear? And at first, intuition and fear can seem almost identical. Both can stop you in your tracks, and both can make you question a decision. Both can get your attention. But the more you begin to observe yourself, the more you'll notice they have very different qualities. So fear usually wants immediate action. It says, hurry, do something right now. You're going to mess this up. You're going to miss out. What if everything goes wrong? It creates an urgency. It often repeats the same thoughts over and over. It pulls you into future scenarios that haven't even happened yet. Now, intuition is completely different. Intuition is usually quiet. It doesn't argue. It doesn't panic. It offers simple, gentle advice. Sometimes it's just one sentence. Not this. Wait. This feels right. Or pay attention. Then it becomes quiet again. Intuition doesn't need to convince you, but fear does. One of the most powerful ways to connect with intuition is by learning the language of your body. Our minds are very busy. That's why we call it that monkey mind. They're constantly analyzing, planning, remembering, comparing, and predicting. But our bodies often notice things long before our minds understand them. And have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt uncomfortable? Maybe nothing obvious was happening, but your shoulders tensed up. Your breathing became shallow, and you suddenly wanted to leave. Your body noticed something before your thoughts even caught up. The opposite can happen too. Sometimes you're around someone that makes you feel completely at ease and peaceful. Your breathing slows, you smile without thinking, you feel safe. You don't have to perform. You don't need to pretend. Your body relaxes. That information matters because our bodies are always communicating with us. And the more we learn to listen, the stronger our connection to ourselves becomes. Something that's important for us to understand is that stress can make intuition harder to hear. When we're constantly overwhelmed and exhausted or anxious, our nervous system shifts into survival mode. And in survival mode, the brain focuses on keeping us safe. Everything begins to feel urgent. Everything feels like a potential threat. And when that happens, it becomes difficult to distinguish between genuine intuition or anxiety. And this is one reason practices like meditation, gentle movement, breath work, spending time in nature, or just simply resting can be so powerful. They're not just relaxing, they're helping regulate your nervous system. And when your nervous system begins to settle, our inner voice often becomes easier to hear. This doesn't mean you'll suddenly have all the answers. It simply means you'll have more space to recognize your own wisdom. Now, how do we learn to trust ourselves again? Many people spend years asking everyone else what they should do. Your friends, family, coworkers, social media, strangers on the internet. And while advice can be very helpful, there comes a point where healing asks us to reconnect with ourselves. Not because other people don't have wisdom, but because no one else lives inside our hearts. No one else experiences your life exactly the way you do. Learning to trust yourself starts with small decisions. Maybe it's choosing where you want to eat without asking 5 other people. Maybe it's saying no when something doesn't feel aligned. Maybe it's saying yes to an opportunity you've been afraid to pursue. Every time you honor your inner knowing, you strengthen your trust. And your trust grows through experience, not through perfection. Now, what happens when we ignore our intuition? I think most of us can remember a time when we had a feeling, and not knowing what that feeling was, we ignored it. Maybe you accepted a job offer that just didn't feel right, or you stayed in a relationship way longer than you know you should have. Ignored signs that you needed rest. Maybe said yes when your heart wanted to say no. Many of us have done this before, and instead of judging yourself, become curious. Ask yourself, what kept me from listening? Was it fear? Was it people pleasing? Maybe wanting approval? Not believing that you deserved something better. Every experience teaches us something, even the ones we'd rather not repeat. So, intuition requires courage. Here's something we just don't talk about enough. Following your intuition isn't always comfortable. Sometimes your intuition asks you to leave what's familiar, to speak honestly, to set boundaries, to create those boundaries, to begin something new, to let something go that you've outgrown. And those moments can feel scary. But courage doesn't mean fear disappears. Courage means moving forward with wisdom, even when uncertainty exists. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is trust yourself. So I'd like to leave you with a simple exercise you can try out this week. Every evening before you go to bed, I want you to ask yourself, where did I ignore myself today? And then ask, where did I trust myself? And write down whatever comes to mind. But don't judge your answers. I want you to simply notice them. Simply become aware of them. Over time, you'll begin to recognize patterns. You'll notice the moment when your intuition spoke. You notice the moment that it became louder. And awareness is that first step. Practice is the second. But trust grows from both. So in part 3, we're bringing everything together with practical ways to strengthen your intuition every day with a calming guided reflection. And we'll talk about learning to trust yourself with greater confidence as you continue on your healing journey. So as always, I know time is precious. I'm extremely grateful that you chose to spend this little bit of time with me today. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you back here next time.